I'm back with your next class. In today's class, we are going to discuss about pollination. Alright? Now, all of you know what is pollination. That is transfer of pollens from anther to the stigma of carpel. Transfer of pollens from the anther to the stigma of the carpel is known as pollination. Alright? Now, pollination can be of certain types, right? If you can recall, types of pollination. It can be of two types mainly, self-pollination and cross-pollination. Alright? Self-pollination means when the pollen grain from a flower reach out to the stigma of the same flower or else to a different flower but belonging to the same plant. Alright? Whereas in cross-pollination, the pollen grain from one plant or one flower reaches out to the stigma of a completely different flower that belongs to a different plant. Alright? From this diagram, it will become much more clear to you. We have discussed this in chapter 1 as well, right? Like this. Suppose these are two flowers . And these two flowers, they belong to the same plant body. Alright? This being the pistil or the carpel, this being the stem. Alright? Now see, self-pollination would mean when the pollen grain from this anther reaches out to the stigma of the same flower. Okay, that is also self-pollination. And in case the pollen grain from this anther reaches out to the stigma of a different flower but of the same plant, that is also self-pollination. But because the two processes are completely different, we have different terms to denote them. In the first case, when the pollen grain from the anther reaches out to the stigma of the same flower, we call it autogamy. And in the next, where the pollen grain are reaching out to the stigma of a different flower but in the same plant, we call it geitonogamy. Alright, so self-pollination can be of two types, autogamy and geitonogamy. In autogamy, there are certain kind of benefits that are going to be present in the plant, like here pollinating agents won't be required, but in geitonogamy, even if self-pollination is happening, still pollinating agent would be required. So in that case, autogamy would be favored. Alright? Cross-pollination. Now, cross-pollination means now these are two flowers but they do belong to two different plants. They are not present in the same plant body but are present in different plant bodies. So in case the pollen grain from the anther reaches out to the stigma of a different flower belonging to a different plant, then we will call it cross-pollination, also referred as xenogamy. Do remember these terms: autogamy, diatonogamy and xenogamy. So now that you know the types of pollination, let us discuss the advantages and disadvantages of self and cross-pollination, starting with self-pollination. First, advantages. Alright, first thing about advantage of self-pollination is that here purity of the races is maintained. Means because here the pollen and the pistil both belong to the same plant or the same flower, in that case the progeny that is going to be produced, it will not show any variation. The progeny is going to be exact clone to the plant. So whatever desirable characteristics would be there in the parental generation, that would continue to exist in the progeny. Alright, that's called purity of the races. Pollinating agents are not required. Now all of you know pollinating agents are very expensive, right? Say, for example, in case of insect pollination, if we talk about, the flower has to be very showy or beautiful to attract the insects. Like it will have to bear a beautiful color, or it will have to bear some beautiful or specific aroma. It will have to also sometimes have nectariferous glands, nectar, okay, so that the insects or birds or pollinating agents are attracted. Likewise, in case of say anemophilous or wind pollinated flowers. In wind pollinated flowers, maybe the flower does not have to be very beautiful or showy or colorful, etc. But then the flowers will have to bear a very large amount of pollen grains. Even that is going to be using a lot of resources from the plant body, isn't it? So all these things that are required to attract the pollinating agent is not necessary in case of self-pollination, but mainly autogamy. We are here talking about mainly the advantages of autogamy, alright. Diatonogamy here we are not considering because it is self-pollination, but it also uses pollinating agent. So in that case it is having drawbacks rather than advantage. So we are talking mainly here about autogamy, okay. So in autogamy, pollinating agents are not required, so it is much less expensive to the plant, okay. Third is that fertilization is not a chanced factor. Means in autogamy, because the pollen is going to be released nearby to the stigma of the carpel, that's why the chances of fertilization occurring is much higher. Alright, so it's going to be as if fertilization is almost guaranteed. There is no as such failed fertilization chances, okay, which will be otherwise seen in cross-pollination. So that is a very, very important reason why self-pollination is having advantage over cross-pollination, okay. Fourth, it eliminates bad recessive characters. It eliminates bad characteristics. As I have told you already, the progeny is going to be exactly like the parent. So after reproduction, there is no as such drawback that is going to be seen in the progeny. Like the progeny is going to be weaker, or it will show some kind of disadvantaging features. That kind of a possibility is not here, because the progeny and the parent will be exactly alike. So there is no chance that the progeny might have some bad characteristics. Okay. So these being the advantages. Now about disadvantage. First, genetic recombination is absent. As because in case of self-pollination, pollen and pistil both belong to the same flower or the same plant body. That means the male gamete and the female gamete both belong to the same parent. In that case, genetic recombination won't take place. Progeny will be exactly like the parent, and that is not going to introduce any variation in the progeny, which is of course not good in the long run. Okay. Progeny becomes weaker with every passing generation. With every passing generation, the progeny will lose its vigor or vitality, and hence it will no more be suitable to survive sometimes. See, whenever variation occurs, that means changes occurs in the progeny, as our outer environment is constantly changing, if we also change accordingly, we will be more fit to adjust or to survive. If the outer environment is changing constantly and we remain as it is, we don't change. So in that case, eventually there will come a time when the outer environment or our surrounding is not going to be well suited with us. In that case, our survival chances will be less, or the chances for a species to go extinct becomes higher. In that case, it's very, very important that with every passing generation, as the environment is changing, the progeny is also changing accordingly. But in self-pollination or in autogamy, no as such variation is seen. So in that case, the progeny becomes weaker over the generations. Okay. Vigor and vitality of the progeny is lost. See, sometimes what happens when two different, like the gametes from two different plants would fuse together, the progeny may show certain characteristics which are much more superior than the parent. Okay. So the progeny becomes much more stronger or superior to the parent, but this is not going to ever happen in case of self-pollination. Fine. So these being the advantages and disadvantages of self-pollination, mostly here we are talking about autogamy. Alright. Now if we talk about the advantage and disadvantage of cross-pollination, we don't have to discuss it all over again. Why? Because whatever is the advantage for self-pollination becomes the drawback to the cross-pollination. And whatever is the disadvantage of self-pollination becomes the advantage of cross-pollination. Like for cross-pollination, the advantage will be what? Advantage will be genetic recombination is present. Okay. So in that case, the progeny will become stronger over the generations, and vigor and vitality will be not lost. Rather here it will be increased, or it will be enhanced. Alright. Likewise, if we talk about the drawback of cross-pollination, drawback will be that purity of the race won't be maintained. Likewise, pollinating agents would be required, which will be expensive to the plant. Then fertilization will now become a chanced factor, because pollen grain will be coming from a very far off place sometimes, and it might not properly fall onto the stigma of the carpel, and it will not eliminate any kind of bad recessive characters. Like in cross pollination, if there is a chance that the progeny is much more superior to the parent, also there is an equally likely chance that the progeny becomes more deteriorating in its characteristics. So it might sometimes show some bad recessive characters also, which is of course not possible in self-pollination. It's just the thing. If you learn one, you will remember the other. Alright? Understood this much? Now let us discuss a few strategies that are taken up by the plant to ensure self-pollination and cross-pollination. They are termed as inbreeding device and outbreeding devices respectively. Alright? First, we'll discuss inbreeding devices. Inbreeding devices means strategies taken up by a plant to ensure self-pollination. Alright? Now, there can be various strategies that can be taken up as such. Like the first one is bisexuality. Bisexuality means a plant bearing bisexual flowers. A flower where both stamen and carpel are present. Only when a flower would bear both stamen and carpel, there can be a chances of self-pollination occurring, isn't it? So it's the most common method how a plant might try to ensure self-pollination. Example is pea. Alright? Next. Homogamy. Homogamy means a flower in which the stamen and carpel both would mature at the same time. So when the anthers was burst, releasing the pollen grains, exactly at the same time the stigma will also become receptive. That means it will be ready to receive the pollen. Okay, that means the egg within is already ready to be fertilized. So when the stamen and the carpel both will mature at the same time, then the chances of self-pollination is of course increased, and this is called homogamy. Okay, so homogamy means when the stamen and carpel will mature at the same time. So this can be very commonly seen in sunflower or mirabilis. Next, cleistogamy. The term cleisto itself means closed. So cleistogamy means closed flowers. The flower would not open or would not bloom. It will always remain closed. So if it always remains closed, we will call it, or here, self-pollination is the only thing that can occur. There is no cross-pollination that might ever occur. That means from outside, no pollen grain can ever enter the flower and cause cross-pollination, isn't it? So do remember here important terms. Flowers which always remain closed are called cleistogamous flowers, and flowers which will open or bloom, they are called chasmogamous flowers. So we here are talking about cleistogamous flowers which will always remain closed, thereby guaranteeing self-pollination. Okay. Example would be camelina. Now camelina will bear both cleistogamous as well as chasmogamous flowers. Okay, both closed flowers as well as open flowers. Viola, oxalis, etc. Alright. Next, bud pollination. Bud pollination means when the stamen and the carpel will mature within the floral bud itself. Before the flower can bloom, the floral bud itself has mature pollen as well as the pistil. So in that case, the fertilization will take place inside the bud, and hence cross-pollination can never occur. Alright. Here, example will be rice, wheat. Alright, the examples are important. Let me revise it once again for you. Inbreeding device means the strategies taken up by plant to ensure self-pollination. First is bisexuality. Here the flower will bear both stamen and carpel, and hence chances of self-pollination will increase. Homogamy. Here the stamen and the carpel would mature at the same time, thereby again increasing the chances for self-pollination. Cleistogamy. Here the plants will bear closed flowers so that there is no chance of a pollen grain from outside source to enter the flower and cause cross-pollination. So cleistogamy will guarantee self-pollination. And bud pollination. Here the pollen and the pistil will be already mature inside the floral bud itself before the flower can bloom itself. That's why there is again increasing chance for self-pollination. Alright. Now let's see some of the outbreeding devices. The devices which will be ensuring cross-pollination rather. Outbreeding devices means strategies that are taken up by a plant to ensure cross-pollination. Alright? They can be again of various types, like first, declining. Declining means unisexuality. That means like bisexual flower will kind of increase the chances of self-pollination. If a flower is unisexual, then there is more of chance of cross-pollination, right? So now declining can be again giving rise to two conditions. One is monoecious condition, and dioecious condition. Monoecious condition means when the male flower and female flower both are born separately but then in the same plant body, like in maize. Whereas dioecious condition means male flower and female flower both are in two completely different plant bodies. That also you have learned in the first chapter, reproduction in organism, right? Examples, that's why all of you know, is date palm or papaya. Right? Now, next is dichogamy. Dichogamy means the opposite of homogamy. Here, the stamen and the carpel only maturing at the same time. They would rather mature at different time intervals. That's why chances of cross-pollination would be more. Alright? So, dichogamy also can give rise to two conditions. Protoandry and protogyny. Protoandry means when androecium will mature faster than the gynoecium, and protogyny means when gynoecium will mature faster than the androecium. Alright? Examples are cotton for protoandry and ficus for protogyny. Now, next is self-incompatibility. Now, this is a genetically controlled mechanism. Here, if a self-pollen means a pollen belonging to the same plant body, somehow it reaches to the stigma of the carpel. During the pollen-pistil interaction itself, the self-pollen will be always rejected. Okay? And that's why it will degenerate. So in such a case, or in such a scenario, always pollen grain from a different plant only can cause fertilization. So this will guarantee cross pollination. Okay, this is very commonly seen in tobacco. Alright, then prepotency. Prepotency means, suppose two pollen grains, one is from a self source, okay, self pollen, and another has been brought by cross pollination. That means it belongs to a different plant. If two pollen grain, one is self, another is by cross, both falls together in the receptive stigma. According to prepotency, out of the two now, the one which has been brought by cross pollination or which belongs to a different plant will germinate faster than the self pollen. This is called prepotency. This is also going to increase the chance for cross pollination. Understood what I am telling here? Here prepotency means two pollen grains, one is self, another is brought by cross pollination, together falls on a receptive stigma. So in that case, or in such a situation, always the cross-pollinated pollen grain that will be germinating faster than the self. Hence, cross-pollination has more of chances rather than self. Example is apple. Alright. Heterostyly. Heterostyly means when the stigma, or rather you can say the style, and the stamen, they remain at two different heights, completely different heights. So because they remain in two different heights, they usually cannot reach out to one another, and hence chances of cross-pollination increases. Example, primula. So that is regarding the outbreeding devices. So as you have seen that there are many inbreeding and outbreeding devices, as if the plants are trying to evolve with the strategies to ensure self-pollination also and cross-pollination also. So here, if there is a question arising in your mind, then which one is more favored in nature, then self-pollination is more favored or cross-pollination? The answer is always cross-pollination. Why? The answer is also very simple. That's only because cross-pollination will allow variation in the progeny, and variation will allow speciation, and finally this will give rise to evolution of more and new species. That's what is of course favored in nature. Alright, so let it be up till this for today's class. In the next class we'll start with pollinating agents. Thank you.